good because war is uh, now is far away from Kiev and Kiev region districts, and now we come back to routine work, and family, my family and Daria family, everything is okay, but I think Daria says about your family because your family, her family is now in do not Kiev. They live in other city in Ukrainian. In Kiev is situation maybe 2 months established, and many people come back to Kiev and start again work, and now approximately maybe 3.5 millions people who come back to Kiev during maybe 1 month.
Uh-huh. So, and I should explain to the board something that is personal to me. My grandfather was born in the hometown of Dr.
Yeah.
Daria and Kharkiv, and so we go back to that town. I've always wanted to go back, but maybe someday I'll go back and see where he lived, and
Quick
it will
question.
be a joy to go
Quick
there.
question,
But,
Mark and Doctor.
Doctor,
would it be okay for us to record this so that other folks can see it, or should it be better not to?
with your permission, would it be okay to record?
Yes,
Of course
yes,
you may.
of course.
Okay.
Okay, I'll handle that,
we-
so you don't have to worry about it.
All right.
All right.
I'll give this a shot.
All right. Dr. Daria, I don't have your last name for some reason, your family name.
My family name is Diktarova. It's
Viktorova.
we have a new Ukrainian rules of transliteration of Ukrainian words into English, so it's terrible. So he will write it in the contact window. I wouldn't call Kharkiv a town. It's a city. It's the other million city of Ukraine. So rather lot, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And from the memoirs of
my family name is flying to you.
Oh, there it is.
I can see that I'm calm as he is. My children are in Ukraine, but in a safer place, west part.
Good. All right.
I still the work we came up with. It helps maybe to switch the attention to it, not to think about what's going on, especially in my home.
Yes.
And I try. Well, when there are lots of patients and lots of things to do here, you just don't have time to read. Because by regret, we know for sure which are the real. And when I come home, when I'm tired and I'm going to sleep, I try to follow the news, of course, about my home city, and it hurts because it's bombing every day. It's being bombed, and the infrastructure is destroyed. So I think one day you'll have to wait to see the beauty of Kharkiv that it was 4 months ago. Because now lots of things they have already destroyed in the center, universities, schools, kindergartens, parks, are the most beautiful park in this country, to my opinion, of course, my personal opinion. It's of sirens in Kiev, lots of alerts. Of course, we feel more protected for the reason it's the capital, and we think that it has, we expect it to be so, to have more protection. Because we have government here, all the military heads, and there are lots of offices and things like that. But anyway, it's also, when you do something at home and you hear the siren, you hear how people are taking their kids from the streets. So life is different anyway.
Well, thank you for that. And someday we will revisit that on I hope, a personal note. And the expression I was using is an expression where you say that's a hometown, and that means that's a hometown.
My heart belongs there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
And all right, well, let's talk about September 13th and moving forward. I think, and thank you for the information about the transplants. I read with interest. We are already always interested about liver transplants, especially, and living related donor transplants, especially because of their complexity. And so we know that the capacity to do these transplants in Ukraine is very high among you and the teams, and that's very impressive. And that the disruption of the war, of course, is hard on everyone. I think our first question will be and maybe just a request rather, is to make sure that you look at the things that we're saying about Ukraine and make sure we are saying things accurately. You know, we think that the patients and families have been displaced, some of them. We think that the patients and their families are even displaced outside of Ukraine, some of them.
Yeah.
And we know that the transplant functioning has been disrupted somewhat, but that you continue to do your work, and that the people who are and that the deceased donors, as you use that expression, that level is dropping. Of course, we all know that organ transplantation, especially among children, depends on organ donation, and so that whole system is disrupted in Ukraine. We know that, and I guess the thing for us to be sure about is that as we ask people for help and we ask people to give money, that we know that there is a true target for that donation. There's a true objective of something that can be done in a life-saving way or supportive way. For example, we have families in Nicaragua, in the Philippines, in Mexico, even Kazakhstan, that we have been helping on a monthly basis, to survive, to get the immunosuppressant drugs that they need. And so we have been doing that with other families, and we intend, our intention is to do the same thing with these families who may need it, for example, who are in Poland or even in the U.S. Can you tell us if there are any of your transplanted children and families who have been moved to the United States?
No. In United States, we do not know who.
No.
Maybe we know two family who moved to one family to Poland and one family to Denmark. Yes, Francouz.
To Germany.
Germany.
Went to Germany. And
Yeah.
the families in Germany, are they getting the financial support that they need to keep that child healthy and to, protect your transplant activity? Are they getting what they need?
I'm not quite sure they're contacting us. It's to call it a family, it's a grandmother with a child. This boy was transplanted in Belarus before war, and they just, like all the previous transplants that were made abroad, despite they were paid by Ukraine, during the transplant program wasn't working here. The country paid, but they were moving there, transplanted, and then returned with no follow-up. So they returned to us with a follow-up. This boy returned to us with a follow-up. The only relative he has is a grandmother. His mother is not a social person. She was called to police or somewhere. She's not jailed, but she doesn't exist in his life. That's what I know. So they are cared by some doctor. She contacts me. This grandmother. She sends me their analysis. I'm not quite sure they're getting payments only like refugees from war and nothing extra.
Okay. Well, if you can identify that family, for example, And we can, is that a girl or a boy?
It's a boy.
Boy.
It's a boy. How old is he?
He's 12.
12. And did you transplant him, Doctor?
No.
No. Transplant in
We're performing a follow-up. He was transplanted in Minsk.
Minsk. Uh-huh. And he was only coming for follow-up
yes.
Yeah.
to your center.
Because he wasn't necessarily there. They didn't.
I see.
They didn't do follow-up actually.
I see.
For anybody.
I see. And so now he is in Germany.
Germany.
Yes.
Germany. Okay. Okay. You know.
To contact him, you'll need some kind of interpreter because I'm not
Right.
quite sure his grandmother knows any other languages except what we speak here.
Correct. And we would do that. So one thing we would request of you is to try and get us that, help us to locate him so we can make a connection, or the other one who is in Poland.
Okay.
Did you transplant that child? The
Yeah.
ones in
Yeah.
Poland? Oh, okay. Is that a girl or a boy?
It's a boy also.
It's a boy.
It's a boy. Was that a liver or a kidney?
A kidney.
Kidney transplant.
Kidney, and he's,
Our livers are still here in the hospital.
all livers are there. Oh, okay, okay. And so he's a kidney transplant, and he's in Warsaw. Is he in Warsaw?
Russia?
I don't remember. No, maybe it's small city. Do not Warsaw.
Okay, okay. Probably more importantly, since you did the transplant actually, and not the doctors in Minsk, if you can get us his name, his age, his family. They probably are Ukrainian-speaking only people also, are they?
I'm not quite sure.
Probably. Well, that's okay. We'll work out the translation service from here. But if you can get us that information, and the reason I'm asking all this, of course, is because of an open plan that we have here. But before we move forward, I didn't want to stop because we had an exchange going. Dennis Zine, the former city councilman from Los Angeles, former Los Angeles police officer, and very well known in the city of Los Angeles. He has joined us. He's not on our board, but he's very dedicated to being of help to us. He loves what we're doing with transplants and families and children. And that's him there. You see him on the screen. He just lifted his hand there for us. So that's Dr. Godik, and I'll call her Dr. Daria. I hope that is okay because
like
that last name is pretty hard. And so,
Mark,
all right.
Is Richard?
Wants to ask something.
Yes, Richard has a comment.
Yeah, a very important point, and I think that here you can help us, Dr. Godik, is that we find that transplants is it's an easier way to get funding for. However, what's very impressive is that you guys are doing, for every transplant, you're doing dozens of surgeries, of other surgeries on children that are saving lives. Many lives right now. Maybe you can tell us about the unique situation that has you living in the hospital right now. Because it's very important for people to know that when they give money for transplants, they're also giving money to save hundreds of lives that may not require transplant, but they require your knowledge, your equipment, the knowledge and equipment of all the other nurses. Could you tell us a little bit about that, your experience right now in your hospital?
Okay, thank you for your questions. And during war, we usually performed only wound protection and huge combined traumas, is thoracoabdominal traumas. And first month we performed treated do not only children, we treated and adults, everything who visited to our hospital, because in our hospital in stay in city center. City center, do not downtown, and is Rock city center, and first border in the world. You understand? Yes, and distance maybe 15 kilometers. And our hospital is first hospital who possible perform and treat surgery, traumatology, neurosurgery, cardiology, everything. And my colleagues and first days talk about we do not going to home. We stay in hospital, and our hospital open new building when we built a new department and very huge building for only surgery, but it's closed because we do not start. It's planned maybe in October or November this year open it. But we understand it's a very huge building we open and protect is bombing, and we have three upstairs, yes, downstairs, and we live in this what? Please, Daria, say I want to talk.
Doctor, what kind of
wait,
diagnosis are
Richard.
you
I think
seeing?
Dr. Daria was going to answer the
question, yes, because your question was actually about the operation. So Oleg described the facility we are in. So it is really safe and strong. So since the very first day of war, we have started to admit children and adults. The first child we have admitted, he was wounded into the neck, and Oleg operated him. And he had only 3 days living here because he has too much blood. And it was maybe, it was not a shock because we were walking maybe mechanically, switching off our emotions. The second child, the very second child was delivered dead here. I was to register him.
Okay.
I still ask myself whether I feel something. We were forbidden to make the scheduled operation then, because we have active battlefield like in the street outside. It was shooting here. The bullets were flying like, in the Star Wars. It was the first time I saw those, the lights that were flying there. But I can say that we were frightened. We were maybe providing healthcare and surgical treatment only to wounded during 3 or 4 weeks. Lots and lots of them, but except that boy with the neck wound, and except an elderly guy, he was brought somewhere from Bucha when the active battles were there. In the very beginning, then they were pushing hard to take Kiev. All the rest have survived. Since the beginning of May, our lives normalized. When they left the Kiev region, we have started again all the scheduled surgeries. And the idea of this hospital, because this is the main hospital of Ukraine, is we take the most difficult cases all over the country. Those who have complications being operated first in their regions. And the people have started moving here. We are happy to see, because, lots of people have to evacuate, those who have cars, those who have money, who have enough time to make it, who have somebody to save. But there are lots of people who can't be evacuated from Kherson region, for example, now. But these people come with their complaints, with their diseases here, and they are being operated now. As our team, except transport, we're making surgeries on portal hypertension. And we also have lots and lots of kids now who are coming with very low hemoglobin and after bleedings, and in some severe condition with thrombocytopenia, with huge disorders of their health. And we go on operating them also since May. We're allowed to do so. And the complex operations are being made in the hospital also in thoracic, in newborn, in orthopedics, in neurosurgery. They have even launched the program for epilepsy now. So lots of work is being done here.
Wow. Well, Dr. Daria, thank you for that. I think we need to urge forward motion now because we have about 15 more minutes. Councilman Zine needs to leave us fairly soon, and I want to focus on our event. I officially declare you members of our team as we work together, you know, and
Thank you.
and we are on your team and you are on our team. And so now as we plan for this, I think it very quickly, I will tell you our vision is that the war will be over. And then with the efforts that we're making in Save the Children of Ukraine campaign, we will be able to restore, rebuild, restructure things so that the pediatric organ transplant system of Ukraine will be the best, better than it was before the war, and a model, you know, a model of with your expertise and all your experience, including all these other surgeries, that the pediatric organ transplant system in Ukraine will be the best in the region. And so that our goal is to raise money toward that end with this campaign. And our strategy is to do everything we can with a variety of different ways to raise this money. This event that we have on September 13th is a strategy, and I mean, it is designed to raise money. We have tickets that we are selling at $100 a piece. We have tables for $1,000. We have a silver sponsor for $5,000, a gold sponsor for $10,000. You know, like even a diamond sponsor is $25,000. And but we also have in the beginning a news conference, and in this news conference, we will be talking about what we're trying to do. We want to get, of course, when you have a lot of news, you have a lot of possibility for raising money also, because that generates some interest among somebody who wants to be a large donor, which we need large donors, you know. And so now we have to discuss with the email that you sent us, the possibility of the two of you coming. We talked about that, and as I said in the email, we talked about the possibilities, about the cost, about the complexities. You said you both have visas for travel. That takes care of one huge complexity right there. And what we considered is that if the ideal, of course, with cost and everything, we thought would be to have both of you on a large screen and have a family with that child, for example, the one in Poland, on the screen for the news conference where you answer questions of Los Angeles reporters or CNN or Fox News or the big reporters who could be there. You answer questions. We say what we're trying to do. Councilman Zine, who has the experience in news media more than all of us, is putting that together, the news release and all of that. And it becomes you can answer questions from the reporters, and the family over in Poland, they can answer questions, maybe with a translator. And we can work that all out. We talked about, and we're very much in favor, of course, we want to meet you in person, shake your hand, like you said, and give you a big hug. And
that's for me. A hug is for me.
A big hug. And we give the secret Kharkiv handshake, you know? And,
Yeah.
All of that we want to do, but we want to be practical too, and we want to be strategic and helpful, and do the thing that will raise the most money at the most efficient way of raising money. And so we talked about that idea of having you on the big screen, how significant that would be, or having you both come and then bringing that family on the screen if we could. And so we're wide open to ideas and suggestions. We even had members of our board said, if they come, I will donate to help pay for their trip and so forth. And I don't know if the government could pay for your trip or if we haven't explored that. But we just wanted this meeting so we could firm up and decide the manner in which you will participate with us on that board, either in person, on a big giant Zoom screen, with the family, without the how that would work. So maybe I could ask either Kat, Richard, Dennis, Kat, to give any other ideas. I may have overlooked something from our board discussion.
I would like to interject just a little humble thing here. I will be I will be flying to Los Angeles for this because it's going to be very important. However, the important thing here for me is that, as you may know, there is a very large Ukrainian community in Argentina. Argentina became a very strong immigrant to Ukraine. I'm going to use this video to approach the Ukrainian embassy in Buenos Aires. They're getting a lot of help, but I'm going to tell them that the advantage that our foundation has, of course, is that the Argentines don't feel very secure with the local organizations to move funds. Also, that we have here very strange laws in terms of exchange of money, so that many very wealthy Ukrainians have their money abroad, and therefore they cannot bring it to Argentina, and they would lose a fortune if they did. They would rather send it to our foundation in Los Angeles because of trustworthiness issues. And so I'm going to approach the Ukrainian embassy with this video and get their help to get the Ukrainian community in Argentina to help us and help the children. And it is important for people to understand that you guys are not just helping the very crucial and important transplants of children, but you're helping all the children. and as you said, in a war, you have to help some of the adults too. So we have, by helping you, we're helping a lot more than what seems to be the case. We're helping literally thousands. And that's what's exciting here. And I think that you're going to have, there's a lot of support for Ukraine in Argentina right now. I would say the country is 100% on your side. The government is a different story, but the country is not with the government anyway. So that's not a problem. But the Ukrainian community will participate. They have in the past, and I'm sure they will come through. And I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a global team now in Argentina with that community, and of course I made the first overture at the embassy to the U.S. and the U.S. And then they put me in touch with the Ministry of Health and the U2 and so forth. And so we intend to engage all of them, hopefully, also. Kat, any observations, questions? You see that Dennis Zine had to leave us for a meeting that he had, but he's fully on board. He wanted to see you, meet you, and so now he knows the comportment that you have, the facility in English, which is wonderful. Because for news, that makes it so much easier, where they don't have to wait or have a voiceover translation. It makes it so much easier. But Kat, anything from you?
Our side has spoken a lot, and I think we've captured basically what our discussions have been so far. I'm most curious.
We can't see you, Kathleen. You're on your camera is not facing you.
Oh, I don't.
There you go.
There you are.
I'm back? Okay. I think it would be time for us to hear from Dr. Glodic and Dr. Daria as far as their thoughts. What are your thoughts, doctors?
Yeah, what do you think? How could this work out? And
our opinion is the same. We have written you in our letter that like the sense of this idea was like maybe it could work really to help the whole project to collect this money. But we're not strategy planning. We can plan a big surgery. We can make a strategy planning of how we bring the ice, the instruments, the timing of patient coming. But we are not. We are so far away from collecting money. So it's up to you.
Yeah.
We would of course I want to hug you already. We would participate in the best way you consider it is. If you think we should come, I think we would put our efforts again to our ministry for them to give us the documents that would afford us to cross the border, because we are not people who want to cross it and never return. We want to return and go on here. If you think that it would be useful having us on the screen, we would be there on the screen. It shouldn't be like our decision. It's better for you to decide how to make it.
So
I think we
realistically,
should think about people who could contact among our patients. I'm not quite sure. I will try to detect whether anybody of them speaks English, or at least could participate.
so realistically, if you were to come live, if you were to come in person, I think it would take you away from your duties for at least 4 or 5 days, right? It's a day to travel on either side and the time that you spend in Los Angeles. So that's the advantage to the screen time, right? If you just appear.
Now, there's Marilee.
The lady disappeared.
She is, you will love Marilee. She works so hard, and she's so smart and positive and optimistic. She's like you. And she gets so much done, and so all right. Well, I think what Kathleen was saying and what you are saying is the same, and let's do the thing that will be most effective, that considers all the things, including your displacement, your time away from helping children there in the hospital. Maybe sometimes you need a break too, and you need, just to get away. That's helpful too.
Sometimes we desperately need breaks. I think I should refuse even from the word Sunday in my vocabulary, because I don't have them. I'm here to make ultrasounds for our transplant patients, to see those who are in the department. Okay, I could have explained it for the reason my kids are far away, I need others, but these kids were more dominant for me all my life. So again, the idea is the project to work. That's all.
Yeah. I just think also, we think about this being on the big screen or being in person, and I just think of the news conference with having you there, the two of you in person with the news media invited, how effective that would be, and more effective than the screen, because in these conferences, and I did many of those I was a deputy chief in Los Angeles, and many news conferences, and they always like to have a little interview with you in person on the side after, and that kind of thing, and that could be very, very, very useful and very helpful. So we think of all those various components. I think we'll go back. Richard has a comment. I think we'll go back. I think we'll go back after we conclude today. We'll go back and really consider all of this and think through the best we can. So, Mark, Richard, please.
Mark, that is, of course, a very good idea. And I was thinking of maybe the news conference could take place about 10 or 15 days before a second news conference, just like this through Zoom, so that if they put it in LA, there are a lot of people that may become interested in coming to the or even if we're packed, then they could send money even before the event.
Okay, so, let's add that one.
A pre-news conference to the news conference.
Can I add something? I just remember about the idea going to Ukrainian embassy. We have the news, it's a short episode, maybe 5 minutes, about our 3 last transplant. It's in Ukrainian. Maybe I'm not quite sure they have watched it, because people who are watching news now, they are watching news only about war. So
But
I will send you the link. It's in YouTube.
Well, yes, and
So you
with,
can just see us. You can see him. It doesn't have the subtitles as far as
Yeah.
I remember. It's in Ukrainian, but you can see our the department. Those 3 kids with kidneys, the presents we were given, and how like they left home.
well, that video can be edited and subtitles added, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could, if you'll send that, we take a look at that. We'll
Yeah.
throw that into our discussions and consideration. Richard's idea, and we will continue talking about it. Please, the one thing I will ask you is to make sure and correct us if we are misstating anything about how, because we want to have high level of credibility. There's so many things are said about the war, about Russia, about Ukraine, and Ukraine is bad, Russia is good, America is bad, Russia is good, Ukraine is good, America is bad. I mean, we don't care about all of that. We care about the children and about the vision that we have to support you and Ukraine in the future of organ transplantation for children. And so if there's anything we say or anything that you read and anything, please, it won't insult us. Please tell us right away, that's not accurate. You need to fix that, and we'll make sure that we have high level of credibility, and that we can assure also on credibility, because people have said, Mark, you're dealing with Ukraine. There's a certain amount of corruption, and if you send money there, if you send things there, it will get lost. People will put it in their pocket. There's all that, there's all that dialogue. So I'm preparing an integrity assurance plan that we will show you, that will say that when we make a donation or we say we are going to send this equipment, there's a plan for assuring that equipment goes exactly where it was intended. It has a barcode on there. You can come later and inspect it. You can open all the books. You can see where all the money is going, and the procurement is accurate. All the bills are paid properly. There is no corruption. We want to assure everyone that we have no corruption. We have total integrity, and we have trust in our doctors that we're working with. So that's all part of, you telling us if what we are saying is accurate, and then helping us to assure that the donations that we are made are, people can be confident that we're going to eliminate corruption from the discussion by being very solid on our integrity, solid on our open books policy, and nothing will be different from what the donors intended when they gave the money. So that's all part of it.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I think we need to let Dr. Oleg, Dr. Daria get back to work, and it's after, it's getting close to 6 o'clock. But let's go around. Richard, do you have anything else to add?
I'm very
or ask?
honored to help. This is a very good cause. You have the heart of the whole world on your side.
Amen.
This is a battle between freedom and slavery. And it's very clear to everyone's mind on what side we are on. We're going to help you in every way we can. And we realize how incredibly hard your situation must be right now. Okay, and we want to make everything possible to make your life and the life of your patients a lot better. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say.
Thank
well
you.
said. Well said, Richard. Thank you.
What I want you to say is that we really feel your support. We appreciate it, because even when we're expecting some collections, some money, some sums we haven't ever held in our hands and even in our thoughts. You must understand that what you do now, even this actual talk, it just helps with the feeling that you support us, that you're with us here in Kiev, in Ukraine, and with our kids. It matters, really. Because what we really want, you can't give us. We want the peaceful sky for our children. 2 of the transplants, 2 of the children that got the deceased donor, it was a great surprise for us. That's what you have mentioned, because it was like when they called, they said that somebody agreed to share. We haven't expected it maybe till the end of the war. These two kids, they lived, the girl maybe for 3 years here, and the boy since his early childhood. They've been living here in the hospital on the dialysis. So the girl lives 9 kilometers from the border with Russia in Sumy region. And she left home. How do I feel like letting her go there? She wants to go home. She haven't been there for 3 years. You can't give it to us. The boy, who was living here since his childhood, left to Chernihiv region, 10 kilometers from the border, on the other side, from Belarus. Do we feel safe? Like, do we know they are safe? We just expect them. You see, we have the skeleton here on the board when our children are coming. We are waiting for them like in a week or in 2 weeks. We just expect them to come. We don't know. Are they safe? So it really matters. Like the developing of the program when the war finishes, where like what Mark told us in our first meeting, like let's make it popular, let people share the organs and so on. But at the moment, it's very difficult, really. So your support matters. You know, we will get help. We have it now, just with you guys, with us here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I want you to know, Dr. Daria, that your remarks put fog in my eyes.
I still want a hug. The second one for
You'll get a big one from me someday.
okay.
And you too, Dr. Oleg. Kathleen, anything before we let the doctors go?
No, I think it's been said. The doctors are champions. The people on this side, from Argentina, from Los Angeles, from Washington, D.C., from Florida, and now from the state of Washington, are all with you emotionally. We want to help you financially, but we want to help you through friendship and look for more ways to really form a team going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is the word for team in Ukrainian?
Komanda.
Is it?
Komanda.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Komanda. It's a little bit like commander, but it's komanda.
Yeah.
Komanda. Okay, komanda. That's our key
The
phrase.
idea is to say O, because in Ukrainian we pronounce all the vowels as they are.
Uh-huh. Komanda.
Yeah.
Komanda. Okay, this is for the komanda. So we will sign off for the team Komanda. And thank you so much for your involvement. We'll continue to talk about that. And if you will look at the possibility for your calendar, about a week around that time, so that if we do move ahead and you come, so that it won't disrupt very critical planning like what you have up on your board there, and if we don't want to disrupt that, that's the main thing.
Sometimes we really want to make a gap there.
You need a break. You need a break. Marilee, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, time is short, so that's probably a decision we have to make within the next few days, but we can talk soon.
Yeah.
I think I would just want to reinforce that, we're a modest, tiny organization. We're not bringing in millions, and this event is likely not going to bring in millions, but I think this is kind of one step in an ongoing effort to raise money. This is kind of our launching point for this campaign. So I would hope that this would be a partnership going forward for quite a number of months.
Thank you, Marilee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Well,
Thank you.
we will be in touch. And well, one quick question about your schedule and time. Is this a good time to have a Zoom meeting with you, or do you prefer later in your evening, or what is best?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
It's okay?
Especially when we have like a couple of days before we know it.
Yeah.
So we can
Okay.
move everything away from this stuff.
Okay.
They don't have a long commute. They're living in the hospital, so they just have to get to the...
Long drive. Okay. All right, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And,
Thank you.
Be strong. We support you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice to
you.
meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.